Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Chisme Knit, where we talk about everything with knitters. So I'm trying to talk about different subcultures within knitting, talking to queer and BIPOC knitters, and my guest today is my friend B. Hello, B.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
So
Thank
do
you
you
so
want
much
to?
for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, just like what anything you want
Yeah,
to share?
for
Yeah.
sure. Hi, I'm V. I'm coming to you from, oh, and my cat already is starting into nonsense. Um, sorry for the noise. I'm coming to you from northeastern North America, so it's called Nova Scotia. I live in a town called Chibuktuk, also known as Halifax. And yeah, I'm just like a young knitter, having a good time, full of opinions and chatty, and I have a podcast myself. And that's all I got for right now, but I'm sure we'll talk about more later.
Well, and so you're not originally from the East Coast, right? Is that
Oh,
right?
I am. Yes,
Oh,
I
you
am.
are.
Yes,
Oh,
I did
okay.
go to
Your
high
family
school.
is
Yes, yeah.
okay. Okay.
I went to high school in Vancouver, which is like
Okay.
above. Can you hear that? I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna kick him out
No,
really
it's like
fast. He's terrible. Go away, sir. Go away. Go on. Get out of here. Okay. Yes. Good. Fun.
very
it's a
relatable.
it's a comedy episode. Um, yeah, my parents live in Vancouver. I went to high school in Vancouver. There's no work where they're from. Cape Breton, it's kind of like
Mm,
the no works, everyone moves away kind of place. They moved to Vancouver,
okay.
and I came home as soon as possible because I miss the East Coast. I love it so
Okay.
much. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
And then I like I was trying to think of like how to ask like this question, which is basically like why do you knit, but also like what's your knitting ethos? Like what,
Interesting.
right?
Okay. Yes. Okay. I feel like I have thought about this so much recently, so this is a very good time to talk about it. I feel like so. My knitting ethos is I knit because I love being a crafter as like an identity. That's like really important to me because my like ancestral line forever and ever has been crafters, and I love being connected to that. Like I think that's really important for me. Also, like do you know like the kind of like boomer like I knit so I don't kill people. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm right there with them, you know? Uh, so there's that too, in a least like less like philosophical way. And also at this point in my life, I genuinely don't remember a time when this wasn't my like be all end all, you know? Like I can't imagine where I was before I was like wake up knit, go to work knit, have some dinner knit, watch knitting, enjoy knitting. It's just lovely. Like what a lovely like place to be, I guess. Um, yeah, so it's like it's a combination of there's a purpose, yes. There's like it's just what you do. Like I don't know why how I started. It's like, I was really scared you're gonna ask me when I started knitting. I don't know. I have no idea. Um,
You were
I
born with
was
needles in your
born
hand.
out the womb, needles in the hand.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What's going on? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I think that like I like being connected to my ancestral line that way, but also I don't know any other way to live. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
this is really
Mm-hmm.
important to me, and it's
Yeah.
just so dang fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how it for me like hits all of those things. Like it has definitely um, created community in every place that I've lived. Like in Boston in particular, like I'm from California. And when I moved to Boston, which I was for 6 years, I never found like a hub of people except for like in knitting community. And then here it's been like so nice because I am kind of already tied into it, which and here is Portland, Oregon. And like I just am like constantly so grateful for like how it makes those transitions easier for me. But
Completely.
also then I constantly meet people who are like, oh my God, I don't know anyone who knits like in real life. And I'm like, you're missing out, man. Like,
What?
yeah, it's that constantly happens. They're like, "Oh my God, it's so exciting to like be at a yarn store and be able to talk to someone who's like also a knitter because no one knows the patterns that I,
Yeah.
like." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "How could you not be around that?"
It's that like classic internet bubble thing, you know? Like I have
Mhm.
fed my algorithm this nonsense for like, I don't know, 10 years, however long I've had Instagram. Like it
Right.
knows what I like. But yes, the built-in friends thing, aren't we lucky to just be able to go places? And yeah, like the greater knitting community, there's a lot of different factions within it, a lot of different nonsense in it for sure. But I
Yeah.
find wherever I go, I can find like one quality person. I'm like, yes, we are, I see you
Totally.
see me on the same wavelength. And
I
that's my
met
thought.
like one of my really good knitting friends in Boston, and I like knew that we would be compatible, right? Like I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we got this vibe. And then like when we asked each other for each other's phone numbers, she was like, "I'm sorry, I use Signal for texting." And I was like, "Yeah, yep, uh-huh."
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that that is like the marker of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're gonna vibe. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Signal feels like that's something that I'm fully aware of, like the joke behind and also the necessity of. And it's kind of like, you know, like everyone's like, get your flu shot before the pandemic. Everyone's like, get your flu shot. I was like, yeah, I'll get my flu shot. I had to get my flu shot. And everyone's like, get Signal. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm like, yes, that is the logical best idea. I have to get on that train for my safety and all of those around me. I got it on a train. Signal sounds great.
I know. She would always be like, she'd be like, they have so much of our data, or like,
Yeah.
just so much data. And I was like, yeah. And so how are they going to pinpoint mine out of all of the
Yeah.
data? That was
Yeah.
always, and she's like, that is not how you should think about that. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
there's some things
Yeah.
I have to worry about and some things
Yeah.
that I just gotta
Yeah.
be mindful
Completely.
of.
Completely. Yeah.
And
So
one
true.
of the things that I was excited to talk to you about, because I was watching one of your knitting podcasts, and you were talking about how you asked on your Instagram for unpopular knitting opinions. And we DM'd a little bit about it when it happened, but like everyone was like, I don't like stitch markers. And you were like, that is not what I meant.
Yeah. So knitting unpopular opinions. My first one is everyone has to get better unpopular opinions because they were so bad. People are like, double pointed needles, no way. Someone was said, you know, magic loop, no way. I'm like, that's a personal preference, babe. Like, it's all good. Like, you can have a personal preference. It's not a popular opinion. I feel like because I talk so much, am like a born and bred hater, and like love to engage with my life, like thoughtfully. You know, I have such a deep well of unpopular opinions. Um, like I feel like I'm looking at my arsenal and I'm like, which to bring up first? Like, which option shall we begin with? Uh, I don't know. Do you have any unpopular opinions that I can riff off of? Do you have any set in stone?
I'm like, I feel similar where I'm like, and again, like I don't want to, we like mentioned this before we started, but I don't want to like just become a pit of negativity
No
either. Like
haters.
that is always like my fear, I guess, when I talk about stuff. But this is also something I mentioned in the first episode, that we that like YouTube in particular,
Mm,
there needs to be fewer clicks on the creators who are thin and white and heteronormative and doing all knitting the same patterns. And I don't even think that should be an unpopular opinion. I think that's like a duh opinion. But I have like come across this where like, all the YouTube people that are like, put a picture of your face in the thumbnail. Well, when I put a picture of my face, I don't get as many clicks. So like, what the
yeah,
hell? It's
totally.
like so obvious to me as to what is happening there. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's my biggest annoyance. An unpopular
completely.
opinion. Yeah.
Completely. I also like when you folks were talking about that in your last episode of Chisme Knit, I was thinking to myself, I was like, yes. And then the people that complain about only seeing, they're like, oh, I really want to diversify my feed. Like, I don't actually see a lot of fat crafters. I don't see a lot of crafters of color. I'm like, oh, you're really tattletelling on yourself there, bud. Like, you're saying the quiet part out loud really quickly. Because I have a really great rock and diverse feed of really interesting people, and so I
Mhm.
don't have that problem. But
Mhm.
you know, I definitely when I was trying to get into like knitting YouTube and really enjoy it, I really uh, struggled to find people who I thought were interesting and engaging, and not just knitting the
Mhm.
same patterns and the same scanty designers. over and over with the same yarns as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and not to, not to like hype you up because I'm on your podcast, but I did click on yours and I was like, oh, very interesting, engaging, funny. Oh, fun, good to watch. My person, yes, very good. And I subscribed, and that's how I found you. So that's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, thanks.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
So
that's
that's a
and
positive.
that's why I started, was because I was wanting more content like me. And so I was
Yeah,
like, other people have to also be looking for content like what I want to
completely.
make, which is just not just knitting what everyone else is knitting. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, lately my knitting has been boring, but it's fine. Like I have my moments.
Okay, so on this, like same, everything is carbon copy. I think the nicety politics of the knitting community dig us into big holes sometimes. And what I will say, like to elaborate on that, is that I find that all these patterns on thin people that look really good because they're thin and there's no pulling of any fabric in any direction. There's not going to be any pilling because nothing is rubbing. And no one who tests that in a larger size says anything negatively because they don't want to like talk down on the designer. And like God, we never want to talk down on any designers. Like that's never a good thing. But I think like an honest review of a pattern is hard to find. Like a really good, honest, and like not hateful, like never hateful, but a true tried and true, like this is the plus, this is the minuses, this is why I knit it, would I knit it again, yes or no. I find those impossible to find. And I also find that because I can't find those in the internet world, I can't do it myself. I really struggle to be honest because when I feel I'm being honest, it feels mean because no one else
Mm,
will even venture into that territory. And that's
totally.
frustrating because I want good reviews and bad reviews if it's honest.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
Yeah. I think that's I've definitely given not great reviews when I've been talking about patterns.
Yes, totally.
But I feel like the way that I've curtailed the like maybe feelings of guilt is by understanding what is wrong with them and being able to explain like how it could be different. You
Yes,
know, done differently, how I have done it differently to accommodate for that. But there's a really big issue with like plus sizes in particular, and it sucks
it
that
sucks.
we can't. Well, I mean, I think that people are partially scared to talk out because they don't think the designers are going to be receptive. And
Completely.
we've seen multiple times that people don't respond in kind, or don't respond not defensively. Um, and like I have a lot of empathy for like all these people who are doing stuff, by like we're all I mean, this is like a pro and a con, right? Like one of the great things about the knitting community is how many small businesses, and not even necessarily primary sources of income, but like how many people we have to choose from. It makes it tough because we don't have negative reviews, so you don't know what you're putting your money towards that like is actually going to work for you. And it truly lets anyone do things, which
Completely.
is like such a positive, and we don't see that in a lot of industries, and can be also there's like so many negatives to that.
Yes. That is
But
so true.
I've been someone who has been harping about like size limitations for truly decades.
Yeah.
And because when I worked at yarn stores, like at the beginning, like because I've worked at three different stores over the course of 10 years. When I was
Okay.
working at the first one, and patterns were coming out, I was like, these don't fit me. They like, even the biggest size like is not gonna fit me. And then I have my body has changed a lot, and now people are coming out and being like, look, we've expanded the size range, and now those sizes that have been expanded don't fit me. And it's like, how, like, I've been harping on this for so long, and it felt like people didn't want to hear me. I even got apologies DM'd to me when like Jackie C Slack was like really making waves and people were starting to like hear what people were saying about the size inclusivity stuff. Like people messaged me and were like, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you when you were talking about this, which is like a big deal, but also like, it's like, I'm glad you're hearing it now, but also like, why
Yeah.
are you hearing it now? And you
Yeah,
didn't hear it when me, a friend of yours, was saying it to you like 5 years ago.
completely. It's like so deeply bittersweet, hey? Like
Mm-hmm.
nice to finally have some recognition of at least some of the nonsense, but God,
Mm-hmm.
how annoying. I'm not supposed to swear on here, I'm sure, but so how
Go for
annoying
it.
is that? Like, God damn, that sucks. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, and so that reminds me of like another. I think because being so nice in person and like upfront and like not maybe like nice as in not kind, but nice. Like
Mm,
niceties is so important that it can be. I find the DMs can be like pretty wild, just like as
mm,
an example, you know.
mm,
Um, I think people love to say talk a big talk in DMs or
mm.
I guess behind people's backs. And I think that's what like I'm from a small community, any small
Mhm.
community breeds that kind of behavior. Um,
Sure.
but on a where we have these, everyone has the grand sweeping Instagram stories explaining, you know, I knit a size uninclusive pattern, but like here's why I knit this pattern, and the designer said they're going to come out with this, and lots of talk, no actions, so on and so
Hmm.
forth. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then in the DMs, that same person is saying to me, "Oh, like I would never knit that pattern. Like it's so unsize inclusive." Like, buddy, like
Hmm.
you gotta practice what you preach. I think the Black Eyed
Hmm.
Peas said that actually. Uh, you know, but yeah, no, I'm sorry that happened. It's nonsense. It totally is.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Awesome.
interesting that you're getting like the DM like side eye, I guess. My
Mhm.
DMs are different than that, but
Yes. Yes. I don't think it's very often, but I will say people who are very nice and maybe not kind in person love
hmm.
to. If I say, "Oh, I don't like this," they love to come my DMs and hop on the hate train, and that's
Hmm.
really interesting. And I'm never looking to hate. I'm only looking ever
Yeah,
to
yeah.
critique. Okay, another positive unpopular opinion that makes people so angry that I have, and it's a positive one in my opinion, is I love being a crafter. I am not a fiber artist, and
Mm.
that people get really up in arms about,
Hmm.
um, which is really
Yeah,
interesting.
why not? Explain.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I know where you're going,
yeah,
but
you know
yeah.
where I'm headed. You know where I'm headed. But yeah, I think I was talking before, and so I'm from like generations of crafters, and I am not a fiber artist because I feel like I would be doing my grandmother and my aunts like a disservice if I said that I was a fiber artist, because they who taught me, they were crafters, and their work was valued as craft and not as art, as something functional and beautiful and very skillful, but it wasn't art. And then the other thing is that the term fiber artist only really started being used in the mid 20th century when men and rich white women were bringing their work into galleries, and they were trying to distinguish themselves from the crafters. And it's so weird, it's so deeply odd to me that now like meme Instagram is like, yes, like fiber artist is feminist. We are feminists if we are fiber artists. Uh, and I'm like, that's a really bold choice, super bold choice, with no historical context at all. Rock and roll, brother. Get into it, I guess, if that's your thing. Uh, but yeah, so I'm like clutching onto my crafter title. I'm gonna hold on to that with my white knuckles for as long as possible because I love like that aspect of what I do. I think like I love acknowledging the fact that there's a history to what I'm doing, and in my mind, craft like the word craft just like makes you fully aware that there's a history behind what you're doing, whereas an artist
Mhm.
can stand alone, whereas a crafter
Mhm.
has to have learned their craft from somebody. And I think
Mhm.
that that's why I love craft so much. And I'm not saying people can't be fiber artists. That's their business, you know? I am
Yeah.
not yucking someone else's yum. Never would do that. I'm saying I love being a crafter because of this thing. And there's
Hmm.
room for that too, you know? I'm
Hmm.
puffing out my chest. I'm like, I'm allowed to, I can be a crafter if I want to be.
Yeah, totally. I come from generations also of crafters, and in particular my grandma had a business that she made lingerie for Fredericks of
Yeah.
Hollywood. And what I find cool is that not just have they been like crafters and makers, but also entrepreneurs, and like
Yeah.
made their living off of um, artsy craft, whatever you want to say. Like they turned it into businesses that were really successful, and that's like a really cool ancestral, I don't know, lineage to me, and that they were all like very witchy and like healers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like we're right there. My sister and I are both like, yeah, okay, well this makes sense that we're like this.
Yeah. That's cool as hell. That's
A
so cool.
hundred percent. Yeah.
Is your sister also a crafter? Like, do they also make stuff?
She is she does do crafting, but she does it we I would say like about everything in life, we approach things so differently.
Yeah.
Like, but we've ended up in very similar, like we think in a like our conclusions have ended up being the same, even though the way that we have got there has been so different.
Oh.
Which has been kind of cool because we had like a pretty uh I don't know, a tough relationship for like our whole lives, but in the last like couple of years we've finally really been able to like connect about stuff. And right now her thing is like chocolate, and she has a business where she like makes handmade chocolates that are like really amazing and I feel lucky that I've been able to enjoy and indulge in.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
People are, you ever watch those videos? I think TikTok has them and also sometimes Instagram Reels. But it's this guy and he makes a massive, ridiculous item out of chocolate that
Yes.
doesn't look like chocolate. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
Like a rocking horse and
Yes,
like
yes.
yeah.
I think over Christmas there was like a full nutcracker, like a functional nutcracker that was made out of chocolate.
You're like, yo, sir. Yes, I love watching those videos, and I'm always like, where is this going? I try to guess before it gets to the end, and I'm like, nope, never right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they're wild. Like the things you can do these days, just like the opportunities we have for to make weird shit, weird stuff to put on the internet is like it's unreasonable, but in a good way. You know, like
mhm,
it's out of my capability to reason with, and I'm really
mhm.
happy that my mind is blown all the time.
I mean, I'm very upset that I've seen like a hand that I thought was a hand and it turned out to be cake, but like
Oh,
the realistic
like
cakes are out of control.
oh yeah, the realistic case. That's I don't mind the chocolate guy so much because like that's that's a fun gimmick. The cakes, the gotcha moment with the cakes every time. Have you seen the Netflix show? Is it Cake? Because that's a whole Netflix show, right?
Yeah, you're right. I have not watched it. I don't really love not reality, but like competition reality
Yeah,
shows because
that's fair.
I feel like they just are so redundant. Kay really likes watching them. And so they'll be on in the background and every once in a while I'm like, what's happening? Lego Masters,
Yeah,
Is It Cake? Of course, all the Nicole Byer, like
yeah.
yeah.
Circle, the circle.
No,
Nicole Kidman?
The Circle is great. But no, what's the name of Nicole Byer show?
Do 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 do
No,
do
no,
do
the
do
cake show.
do 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 do.
Nailed it. Oh my
Nailed
god.
it! Yes, nailed it!
Thank you. You
Oh,
nailed
wild
it.
show! Nailed it! Oh, yeah, that's a wild one.
The loud groan.
I love Nicole Byer. Wow,
I do too.
too good. Have you
Yeah.
listened to her podcast?
Oh my god, yes. I will never forget her talking about how she ended up with a peanut in her cooch because some guy ate her out after eating pad thai. I was like, no.
That's so funny! Oh
I
my
know
god!
She's an icon, okay?
Yeah, it's iconic. I love how comics can just like get up on the stage and truly tell you a story about the most horrendous thing that's ever happened to them in their entire life. That's kind of how I feel on my podcast. Is I'll just say stuff, and my mom will say, "Oh, how'd that happen?" I'm like, why are you watching my podcast? Like, that's for strangers. Like, people I know can't watch that. No one in real life who knows me watches that. Uh, and it always comes back to bite you in the bum, but it's
That's
really
my
fun to tell a story.
Those are my favorite TikToks, the ones that like start off where people are like, if you know me in real life, scroll away. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
tell me what's going on.
yeah,
Like,
I need to
please.
know. Or there's that meme. It's like this: my inner circle, my outer circle, my close friends, strangers on the internet, and it's like the closest. Or sorry, knitting strangers on the internet is the specific one. That's the golden ticket. My close friend story is full of nonsense that I would never tell a priest in confession. But yeah, what a wild time that we will tell our secrets to strangers into the world, but I would never tell that to a friend. You know what I'm saying?
I know I have a lot of friends who have been um, taking taking actions towards relying less on the internet, and I'm just like, how's that? How are you doing? Like I feel like I have been a child of the internet. Like I know no other way. And I have such good friends that I have made on the internet. I have people who I've known for decades. Like I mean Chris, who was on the first podcast episode, we've known each other for so long because of the internet. Um and also having a business makes it very hard and et cetera, et cetera. But like, yeah, it's so I don't know. I couldn't imagine not having it.
the having a business part. So I own a secondhand clothing store, so I do for work.
Mhm.
And we're like very heavy on the Instagram. If I don't post that we're open that day, people don't come in. Like if I
Mm,
don't say, hey everyone, we're open 12 to 5 today, which I post every single day. Our hours are posted on Google. They're on our Instagram. They're everywhere. People just don't come in. So the
mm,
being attached to it for your business is a whole other like.
yes.
I feel like I have like it's like a tapeworm that's like sucking the life out of me at all times. But I also like am like feeding it on purpose. You know, like it's like a not it's a leech. It's a leech. I can pull it off technically, you know, but it's the 1600s and we're bloodletting. You know, like that's what it
Yeah.
feels like, which is wild. But personal use is a whole other thing as well. Like the friends I have from the
Mhm.
internet, like I love them so much. Like my internet friends are my real life friends, and I don't know when
Mhm.
that switch happened, but like for COVID, for example, like or even before COVID, a group of like 10 queer young folks and I have been zooming every second Saturday for like 3 years now,
Mhm.
and those are like my group, my friend group. You know, like that's my little
Yeah.
group of friends. It's so nice. Um,
Mhm.
but yes, the work side not so nice.
Yeah, I mean same for knit group because I have had the Discord server, which was
Yeah,
Slack, but and we started doing knitting groups on Zoom starting like the second shelter in place happened. And we were doing it like 3 times a month,
yeah.
for a while because it was like, what else is there? And it was such a nice way to connect. And yeah, I'd be so sad like to not have that like link to people. And there are even some people who, just stop hanging out and I'm like, what happened to them?
Yeah. Come back,
Yeah,
buddy.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. The internet etiquette for my internet friend whose face I'm not totally sure of, but whose like little icon I know so well has dropped off the face of the world, and we used to talk every second day. Where are they? Like, how are they doing? What an odd thing to reconcile, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like sometimes you don't even know someone's first name, sometimes even, but definitely not last names a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Well, another question I want to ask you is what music have you been listening to recently?
Okay. I am like the worst Gen Z ever. Um, like well and truly, just because I don't I listen to my mom's music a lot of the time. I really
Oh.
love white trash music right now. Um, like, The Offspring, which I know isn't white trash, like as the band, but my white trash family loves it. And I love The Offspring right now. Um, the Beastie Boys have been like on my rotation a lot. Um, and the Chicks will always be my like always and forever. Natalie Mays and me are best friends. Like I love their music. I love the drama that happened with them recently, like Natalie Maines' life. I don't know if you
Hmm.
heard about all that, but I loved that. Um, I didn't love it, but I love the music that came out of it. It was very
Yeah.
catchy and very good. Uh, but I'm not a good music listener. I also am always listening to Samia. You know Samia?
I do.
Always listening to Samia. I have this comfort music that I do not stray from, and I
But
want to.
that's what I want to know, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Comfort music. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the lo-fi beats as well. I will be honest. You and me are aligned on that one. That's a good like. It kind of just it makes your brain quiet, right? Like it gives you a little
Hmm.
something, a little input
Hmm.
to chill everything out, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
music.
you've got little fingers just like
Yeah,
rubbing your little brain.
brain massage. I listen.
Totally.
Okay, not to like completely out myself as a maritimer here, but I do listen to a lot of jigs. So like that classic Celtic music that you
Okay.
hear, I
Yeah.
really enjoy that for the same reason. So
Uh-huh.
it's like do you know what a jig is? Like the
Yeah.
sound of a jig. I
Yeah.
love a jig. I love a
Okay.
jig. I love square dancing. My girlfriend Zoe just
Hmm.
found us a new square dancing place to go to, so I'm very excited to try that out next week. Um, but my dream job is actually to be a square dance caller, like the person that's
Oh
like
my
split your
God. Yes.
partner. Like I
Yes.
was
Yes.
born. I was born to be that person. Oh my god. Um, but I do love like the Celtic music because of where we are. I love the bagpipes, and I would say I listen to like Gaelic Celtic music at least once a week, which is whatever one out of
Yeah.
seven, whatever that fraction means. I think
Yeah.
that's at least 10% of my music listening to uh,
Yeah.
of the week.
I love that. I
Yeah.
have Smithsonian Folkways. Do you know about Smithsonian Folkways?
No.
It's like the Smithsonian's, or like it's sort of like it's a record label, but they put out like archival music and folk music, and they have an album that is on Spotify that's like classic sea shanties and like maritime songs. So it was very funny when there was like a sea shanty moment like during the like
Yeah.
shelter
Yeah.
in place stuff. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really love I really love that album. I've listened to it many times. So I
I
get
gotta
it. I'm there. Yeah.
I gotta listen to it. Do you know Great Big Sea? Do you know that band?
Mm-mm.
The Great Big Sea is like a pretty popular band of Newfoundland. You know what that is?
Okay. Yeah.
They're
Yes.
like north of me, so it's like
Yeah.
it's the accent, but it's more, and it's its own interculture even more. Like that
Uh-huh.
is like a unique community. And Great
Mm.
Big Sea is headed by Alan Doyle. Oh, sorry, sir, if you're listening, you're not listening, but he's a he's a lovely man. He tells a really good story. Um, but he sang the big sea shanty that was popular on TikTok.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I listened to all of his books. He's written like 3 books through the
Oh,
pandemic. And it was like
okay.
listening to my uncle tell a story. Like it was just really nice
Mhm.
and really homey. And
Mhm.
Great Big Sea is definitely like that's one of the Celtic bands that I will listen to
Oh, yeah.
forever and ever. And just really happy, upbeat, like let's get her going. Like let's do it. Let's have a good time kind of music, which is always great, you know?
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
Totally.
A little pep in your step.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. I was gonna say what's funny about thinking about the offspring
Mm.
is that I didn't realize until I moved to the East Coast how much of the offspring was played on the radio on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And like we moved back, right? Like a year and a half ago, and we've been like, we'll just put the radio on when we're like driving somewhere. And I was like, I haven't listened to this much of The Offspring in like since I was in high school, and we would like drive to school and
Yeah.
listen to like in LA the radio station was KROQ, K Rock,
Okay.
and it's like they still play the same songs that they were playing 15 years ago, which is, The Offspring, Nirvana, Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
and so I just didn't realize like how ingrained in like the culture The Offspring and Nirvana are, and then of course up here they play so much Nirvana. You can like
Yeah.
always find a Nirvana song on the
My
radio.
side.
And Green Day also, so much
I
Green Day.
hate to love Green Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, what a that scratches an itch that like is in your heart. You know, like yeah.
Green Day
I
is
was
like Kay's favorite band
yeah,
ever. So,
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of
It's
Green Day happening over here.
I was introduced to The Offspring because I was 12 years old and I had an iPod Shuffle, and my really cool older cousin, Darren, he came over and he had his like really slouchy jeans on. It was falling off of his butt. He just had got a new Rottweiler, and he had a wife pleaser on. You know what I'm saying? And he's walking. And I'm like, oh my God, Daryl, you're the coolest person in the whole wide world. And he's like, yeah, I know, kid. And I was like, Daryl, please, can I put music from your iPod, whatever the regular, the big screen iPad was at the time. Can I put on my iPod Shuffle? He's like, yeah, kid, this is gonna be some pretty tough stuff for you, but you're gonna like it. And I uploaded all of his music onto my mom's computer and then onto my iPod Shuffle. And then I listened to it was like all the Offspring. Um, but I didn't know, so I can sing pretty much all the songs. Don't know a single name. Don't know what album they're from. Like, couldn't tell you anything because I have the shuffle. That's all I have
Yeah,
to know
just
music from.
clicking through, listening.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So the Offspring and the Beastie Boys, like pretty much like back to back, like boom, 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 and then
hmm
U2 in there sometimes. And I'm not too sure why, but U2 was a big part of that
That's funny.
time,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, yeah. Back
Yeah,
in the day.
I didn't have a lot of like older. This is something that I actually get a little sad about because I'm the oldest sibling and I
Ah,
didn't really have like a lot of older cousins that I hung out with. Like it we just didn't really have it. But in my neighborhood, we did have some older kids that we would play with. And one of them was like maybe like 3 or 4 years older than us, and her name was Alyssa. Now she goes by Liz. And she basically was like, you should try to listen to Blink 182. And so I was like, okay. And so I was like, got really into all the small things. And I
yeah,
had like my Walkman. It was like I had an NSYNC CD and my Blink 182 CD. And now we have connected on Instagram. And she like works for the dog food company that we feed Maple, which is just like super random, very cute, whatever. And I was like, I just want you to know that like I feel like I don't have a lot of like musical influences, but like you really like shaped my trajectory by telling me to listen to that instead of Britney Spears. And she's like, but now we can listen to both, right? And I was like, of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
like, yes.
We can say multitudes. Beautiful. I love the connection like that. That's awesome. Oh my
It's
God.
very cute.
My babysitter, who was like older in the neighborhood, so we live very far with my family, so I didn't really have a lot of family around. Mostly had
hmm
older kids in the neighborhood.
hmm
My babysitter, Anna, she, at the age of, I think it was 10, gave me Twilight and said, here, kid, read Twilight. And then she gave me New Moon when it came out, and, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. I think I read Breaking Dawn when I was 12
Yeah.
from the cool older kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
God bless the cool older kids in the neighborhood. They really,
I know.
you know,
They really did a lot of legwork for us.
did a lot for us.
Yeah, one of those kids got me into fanfic when I was in junior high,
Nice.
which was very helpful
Blessing.
to my junior high self.
Yeah. Would that have been Wattpad or would that have been Tumblr?
Oh my God. I think it started on, well, there definitely LiveJournal, but I
Live
feel
journal.
like it
Yes.
started on, oh my God, Quizilla. Do you know about
No.
this? Was a website that was eventually bought by Yahoo. So
Okay.
all of the like smut was like cleared off of it.
No. No.
But yeah, I don't know why people were hosting stories on there because it was basically like the OG like BuzzFeed quiz generator.
Okay.
And you could
Okay.
just like make a quiz, but people for some reason were hosting stories on there at the
Nice.
time.
Early internet really did feel quite like idyllic, like peaceful. Everyone was in their lane. It was very like sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, wasn't it? Like
Hmm.
kind of what it felt like. And now we got from there dumpster fire real quick, eh? Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
it is
and
what
then
it is.
like we're talking about the positives and negatives here, like the
Yep.
Libra that I
Mm-hmm.
am. Your nose. I'm like, are you like in what universe do you live in where that is like an appropriate thing to say to someone? Like, and why does the internet make that different?
Um, I got my first in real life. I was like, I dress pretty weird, I guess. Not like weird, but I dress not. I don't dress in leggings and a top, which is
Yeah,
a totally
sure.
fine way to dress, but it's just not how I dress.
Yeah.
And I got my first in real life, like point, laugh, stare, hate comments from like actual adult humans for the first time in my life. And they picked the right person to point at and laugh at because I just stood and stared at them like I
Yeah.
didn't give them anything and I laughed right back because I was like, you're an adult, like grow up. What? Um, but that has happened like in the flesh, like you
Mm.
know, my corporal form and theirs in a street, which was
Yeah.
wild. Um, but yeah, no, I haven't gotten like yeah, internet's different and
Yeah.
nastier. But I'm
Mm.
wondering if like the internet nastiness is like emboldening people to be nasty in real life.
Hmm.
But I don't think that's true. I don't know. But these I'm just once again throwing things to the wall and seeing what sticks. These things don't
Yeah.
seem to be true.
I saw a woman on TikTok who was like feeling herself at a baseball game and was like taking having her friend take pictures of her. And these girls, well, women behind her were laughing at her and making fun of her. And in TikTok has like you can put someone's face and it finds them, which is scary, but also like, ma'am. So she like posted their fucking workplaces on TikTok. And I was like, yeah, don't be freaking mean. Like,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, shit.
Yeah. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I think that
Yeah.
was an Isaac Newton comment. That was a quote from that guy. Whoever's doing the physics. Your actions have consequences, and people are always shocked when that happens. I am like on a positive, like opposite end. I'm such a reply guy to my friends, like YouTube, Instagram, anything.
Mm,
I love a little comment. I love being like, amazing, you're the best. Have a nice day. Amazing, you're the best. Have a nice day. And I think that's why I get such good parking spots. Like
mm.
the like karmatically, it comes back to me in a good parking spot. I give it out to the
Yeah.
world on Instagram. I get a good parking spot, and that's my spiritual belief system at this point in time. Um,
If you're gonna take anything away from this episode, it is
mhm,
leave more comments on Instagram
mhm,
and then maybe you'll get a better parking spot.
exactly. Put some positive in someone else's day. Get a better
Uh-huh.
parking spot. Yeah.
I know my cousin cracks me up because every time we go to Target, she goes, I always get a good parking spot at Target. And then we pull in, and inevitably it is like the first spot. And I'm like, you're manifesting real
Yeah.
time. And I
Yeah.
truly am astounded.
Speaking this, yeah. Amazing. Yeah. You gotta
Yeah,
speak it into existence, right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, what are you knitting on too? I want to know that.
Oh my God. Okay, so classic YouTube moment.
Yeah.
I am doing a marled version of The Best Vest by James and Watts.
Yes.
I do this, so this is gonna sound very weird, but I get on these kicks for designers where I'm like, I have to knit everything they've ever made because the first thing I knit from them fits so well. And then I feel like a little
Mm.
fan person, like in there. I I never want to annoy someone with like my constant making and like hyping up of their things. Like I don't want to be weird. You know what I'm saying? Like I love this, I love that. And my next podcast episode is just gonna be James and Watts stuff. And I don't want to be like in their face, being like, I made this and I made that and I made this. Not trying to be like, notice me, notice me, notice me. Like not no,
It's
I just love it.
flattering. It's
Yes,
flattering.
yes. I hope so. I hope it's not just like some weirdo being like, and I made this and I made that and I did this. I don't know.
We were talking about samples at the store I
Mm,
work at, and someone posted the Dagon anal bead like scarf.
yeah.
And then I was like, what about the beads of
Beads of
joy?
joy.
Like modular pattern, and all my coworkers like, I didn't realize what that was like in reference to. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what it is.
That's like the classic, like that's the queer like knitting world knit versus like the not so queer knit verse, you know?
I know, totally. Like everyone was like, and I was like, yeah, I was like, of course that's what it is. Like
Obviously.
instantly.
Yeah. Like what else does it
I
look
know,
like?
I know, totally.
I love the names. I love the look at my holes. I tested that one. I love that one. So funny. What a good name. I love a funny name, you know?
Yeah, why not?
Why
Like,
does
don't take
everything is
yourself
so it's like the
so
Persephone
seriously.
blouse,
I
the
know.
Finch tube top, the
I
oak shirt.
truly have moments where I'm like, if we're not getting inspiration from nature, I can't think of
Yeah.
another place where we can get inspiration from because it's like, I don't know how many peony like sweaters like can exist, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yes.
know.
Very, very bad. What are you working on?
I'm working on my D20 project.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I feel like a bad D20er because I have the cuff, but I haven't rolled the dice yet. I missed the
That's
capstone
okay.
party, and I feel like I'm
Yeah,
running
but
behind.
you've got 2 months.
True. There's all the time in the world. All the time in the world.
What are you making? Socks?
Socks. Yeah, I'm gonna copy Kate's nice helical
Oh,
situation.
amazing.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
And I love to
totally.
copy Kate.
I
Kate's has great
I
ideas.
know. I know. We love Kate. We're Kate
Love
stands on
Kate.
this
Love
podcast.
Kate. Kate and I live in the same city.
Hmm.
And so we'll like show up to fiber events together, and she will always have like a beautiful lip on. Like her handmade outfits are so like classic, clean, crisp, beautiful. And I look like a clown all the time. Um, so the contrast is hilarious. And also like she's like a lawyer. Like she's like a
Yeah.
professional, like boom boom, and so eloquent and just lovely. And I sell secondhand clothes, you know? And both things are equally good and valid, but it's just a really fun contrast
Yeah.
when we hang out together. And also
Yeah.
we mesh so well, which is also really nice. But yes, I love a little dichotomy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A
Yeah,
100%. I'm hoping that Kate will be a guest on an episode of Chisme Knit at
she'd be
some
a good
point
guest.
too. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah, hell yeah. You must have
That's
a really
fun.
good roster lined up, hey? You got a lot of good friends.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to keep it
Yeah,
fun and
keep it fun and exciting.
exciting.
Yeah,
Totally.
I think
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
yeah,
Like,
that's I mean, I just wanted to have conversations like that, yeah, is like adjacent to knitting, but isn't necessarily like, you know, every little tiny thing that we're knitting because a lot of us do that on our own, but like community is such an important part of it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And also, like, there are so many non-knitting things that can be that are brought into the knitting world like forcibly, like systematically, and also like for fun as well. Like you can
Hmm.
have like game dice in the knitting world. I think
Yeah,
that really
totally.
overlaps really nicely. You can have a lot of books in the knitting world. Hey, here's
Yeah.
a popular opinion. I can't read, so stop making knitting and reading themed things, please. Like that's my number one unpopular opinion. I don't care about reading. Please stop forcing me to read things. I listen to audiobooks. And I'm so tired of everyone in the Nick group always being like, books, books. I'm like, what about what TV
I
shows are
mean,
you
when I
watching?
yeah, I know. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll survive. I'll be okay. Maybe I'll be
I
smarter for
mean,
it. And
most
that's
of the
it.
books that I do read are audiobooks, if that makes you
Yes.
feel better.
Oh my God, I listened to the Shady Hollow.
They're
That was
cute,
so
right?
sweet. I love.
I mean,
It was like,
my favorite characters are the gay chipmunks who own the Airbnb or the B&B, not
the
Airbnb.
baby. Yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
I am destroyed. Um,
I loved all of it. I was like, what a fun, what a fun world to build, you know?
Yeah, it was
That's
super
good.
cute. I'm kind of sad there's only three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
Right now, I am reading this book. So I got like really into like folk
Hmm.
horror, folk
Yep.
lore stuff. So I'm reading this newer book that just came out. I want to say it is called, I'm going to look it up, Wayward, by Amelia Hart. And it's about three generations of women who were like I don't want to say accused, who were witches,
Yeah.
and sort of how the culture like affects their identifying as witches.
Oh, interesting.
It's pretty cool. All of them are like very close with animals, and like depending on their circumstances, they can kind of embrace it more.
Okay.
So there's like someone who is being accused of a witch on a witch trial. There's a woman in like the 40s in England who is like, being trained to be like a proper woman, and she's like, ugh. And then someone in a modern day scenario.
Okay.
So it's very cool, and it's sort of figuring out how they all connect and weave together. So I'm enjoying that right now a lot. Yeah.
I'm listening to too much NPR right now because I am so, or not necessarily NPR, but like at least like Jonathan Goldstein. I'm listening too much of that
Mm,
because I am so deeply interested in like the connection of everyday people and like everything together. Um,
mm,
I'm like so interested in that right now, and that kind of story would really grab me. I would love
hmm
that kind of thing.
and
So,
I'm really enjoying they have three different narrators. So
oh
all the
yeah,
women have different voices, which I am enjoying. I
always
also
good.
do listen to normal gossip.
I
I know
love normal gossip. I'm not caught up, but I do. Yes, I love
I've only
gossip, and
listened to the first episode of the new season, but yes. Oh, it's so good.
gossip is so good. Especially when you're not hurting anybody and you don't know anybody who's being gossiped about. I love to gossip about myself. I love to like self mythologize for fun and entertainment. My mother is a fantastic gossip, as she is not unkind but provides good quality content at all times.
Yeah.
Um, and I just find I get along with people who are a little bit mean, just like I am,
Mhm.
who like gossip a little bit, not a lot,
Yeah.
but a little, so good.
Not to
And you
cause harm, but
no,
just to storytell.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. There's like some things that some nonsense I've pulled that I hope someone's getting a good laugh out of every once
Hmm.
in a while. Like I'm trying to think of something right now to tell you, but I can't think of anything that good and also appropriate for the internet at this moment in time. Uh,
What I
yeah,
love is I've lived really far away from my family for like 10 years. Like, just, I was like, goodbye, I'm leaving.
yeah,
And so now I am back in an area where I am close to not just one side of my family, but like my dad's side too, who I'm not
sure,
as close with.
sure.
And it is so fascinating. All of the ways that I am getting kind of swept up, like, and nothing harmful, nothing, too much, but I'm just sort of like, wow, this is why I moved away for a while, and now I'm back, and now I am an autonomous person who is like involved, but I like
Yeah.
love sharing stories about my family stuff. With like my coworkers and stuff. I'm just like, I've got another thing to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, I love my mom. I live far away from home as well, and my mom loves to provide gossip about the neighborhood. Like really loves to do the gossip about the neighborhood. Um, my favorite. I'll provide some gossip for the people.
Yes,
I
please.
can't just tease gossip and not provide it. So growing up in the neighborhood, there is a fireman who is a busybody and will like go to everyone's construction site, everyone's everything, and check on their licensing and make sure it's like run through the city properly. Oh yeah, this guy sucks. This guy stinks. He sucks. And he's a short king, so like people love to make fun of him because he's a short king. Um, yeah, and he's a firefighter. And so I'm having a campfire with my friends after graduating high school, and we're having a campfire in the backyard. He comes over to the backyard, said, "Do you have a permit for that?" And I was like, "Yeah, if I have a permit for this fire, like this is like a backyard fire. This is what's happening now." And he makes me put it out. It's a whole thing. Like I'm a firefighter. Like this is a hazard. You're all drinking. We weren't drinking. He's very dramatic. Comeuppance happens now because this man tries to put up a garage in his own goddamn backyard and thinks that because he himself is the appointed police officer, no one will catch him on it. The city gets, I think it was like 17 calls about his unlicensed garage because everyone hates him so much because he's called on everyone, so everyone calls on him.
Well, this is the
Bada
karma
bing,
we were just talking about.
bada bing, bada boom. And also,
Yeah.
there's a new premier in BC, and they've stopped because of the housing crisis. They have stopped all, I think, licensing on property buildings, so you can build whatever you want, whatever buildings you want on your property. And the hopes is that they'll provide there'll be way more housing that's built, and that people will build like a small garage off their home for their child to move into, kind of thing. It's a very interesting. I'm not 100% on the logistics of it, but it's a whole new thing. It's like not. It sounds, the people that I listen to and I enjoy talking to, whose opinions I generally agree with, seem to like it, but I'm not understanding enough of it to have a full opinion about it. I'm just sharing this because what it means is that Buddy can't call a single thing on a goddamn person anymore because nothing's illegal and it's truly a free for all everywhere, which is wild.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like he got his comeuppance and also his sweet favorite activity, his favorite hobby in the whole wide world has been taken from him as well. So it's like it's a twofer, you know?
Yeah, talk
a
about
win-win.
like a large karmic boomerang.
Yes, huge karmic boomerang. Yes, going back and smacked him in the face.
Oh my god.
And once again, this is I don't know anyone's name, and this is also from I think I heard my uncle tell it, and then my uncle told my mom, and my mom told my aunt, and my aunt told me. So who knows? The details are super clear.
We love questionable provenance on a gossip story.
Exactly.
I think that just makes it.
Yeah, especially when it's very like loosey goosey. There's no real.
Totally.
This is storytelling.
Oh my god. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thanks, Mckenzie. This was really fun.
I think that people are gonna have fun listening to us kvetch and
because we're fun.
Yeah, I know. We're funny.
Really good time. Thank you for thinking of me. I feel so flattered to be here with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed listening. I hope you got some laughs.
Yeah, I hope people leave some comments and then they'll get a nice parking spot.
Get a good parking spot. Like, subscribe, and comment for a good parking spot.
All right.
Sweet. Have a good night.